A very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to continue our chapter Rights in the Indian Constitution. Today we will start with Directive Principles of State Policy. As you all know that these Directive Principles of State Policy are certain guidelines to the governments that government should follow while framing the laws and the policy decisions. These are included in Part 4 of the Indian Constitution from Article number 36 to 51. And Indian Constitution has adopted these DPSP from Irish Constitution. The makers of Indian Constitution, they knew very well that India has to face many challenges in the long run. For that, there was certain justice to be provided to each and every person in the India. Social justice, economic justice and political justice has to be achieved, and moreover the challenge was to bring equality and well-being of all the citizens, and that is why they thought that certain policy direction was directed for handling these problems, and Constitution did not want future governments to be bound by these certain policy decisions. Government Constitution चाहता सी कि कुछ पॉलिसी डायरेक्शंस बनाए जान, लेकिन नाल दे नाल वो गवर्नमेंट ਨੂੰ बाउंड भी नहीं करना चाहता सी. If we see fundamental rights, the government is bound. ਉਹਦੀ violation ਹੁੰਦੀ है, we can directly move to the court. But instead, that is a major difference between directive principles of state policy and the fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are the positive rights. On the other hand, directive principles are the positive rights and fundamental rights are negative rights. Fundamental rights, these are concerned with the political justice, and on the other hand DPSP, they are concerned with the social and political justice. Fundamental rights are justiciable, means if violation happens you can directly move to the court. On the other hand, directive principles of state policy, they are non-justiciable in nature. They are not enforceable by law. These directive principles, they were not made legally enforceable by law. Means अगर इन्हां दी violation हुंदी है तो असी कोर्ट दे कोल नहीं जा सकते. गवर्नमेंट बाउंड नहीं है डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ਨੂੰ फॉलो करने दे ਲਈ. Moreover, these are guidelines which are non-justiciable parts of the constitution that cannot be enforced by the judiciary. Now the question arises that what do these directive principles contain? These contain mainly three things: the goals and objectives that we as a society should adopt. Society ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਦੇਸ਼ adopt ਕਰਨੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ directive principles ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ. Certain rights that individuals should enjoy apart from fundamental rights. Fundamental rights ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ कुछ अजिहे राइट्स ਜਿਹੜੇ कि इंडिविजुअल्स ਨੂੰ enjoy करने ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ. For example, adequate livelihood, equal work, equal payment for equal work. Certain policies that government should adopt. कुछ ਅਜਿਹੀਆਂ policies ਜਿਹੜੇ कि government ਨੇ adopt ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. At various times, government from time to time they have tried to give effect to some of the directive principles. For example, they passed several zamindari abolition bills, nationalized banks, enacted numerous factory laws, fixed minimum wages, cottage and small industries were promoted, provisions for reservation for the upliftment of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes were made. These were certain effects that had tried to give effect to some of the directive principles of state policy. Directive principles also include right to education, formation of Panchayati Raj institutions, partial right to work under employment guarantee program, and the midday meal scheme in the schools. These are certain welfare measures done by the government and that had given effect to directive principles. In 1976, the 42nd Amendment of the Constitution was passed. Among the other, the amendment inserted a list of fundamental duties of citizens. There were 10 in total, and all citizens, we must abide by the Constitution, defend our country, promote harmony among all the citizens, protect the environment. These were certain duties of the common citizens. And it must be noted that our constitution does not make any enjoyment of the rights dependent or conditional upon fulfillment of the duties. In this sense, the inclusion of fundamental duties has not changed the status of our fundamental rights. ਅਜਿਹਾ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਇੰਜੋਏ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ that will be dependent on the fulfillment of our duties. Under directive principles, what were the main goals? Goal is an idea of future or desired result which a society should adopt. For that, welfare of the people, social, economic and political justice has to be provided to the people, raising the standard of living, equitable distribution of resources in order to minimize the gap of rich and poor, promotion of international peace. Certain non-justiciable rights have been included under directive principles under Part 4 of Indian Constitution. The first one is adequate livelihood being provided to each and every citizen, equal pay for equal work for men and women, right against economic exploitation, right to work, early childhood care and education to children below the age of 6 years. Under the policies which a government should adopt, that is uniform civil code for all, prohibition of consumption of alcoholic liquor, promotion of cottage industries, prevention of slaughter of useful cattle. For example, Bharatiya Gau Raksha Dal has been made in order to protect cow. Some cow protection movements have also been launched by the government. Promotion of village panchayats. No doubt that directive principles and fundamental rights, they are complementary to each other, but fundamental rights restrain the government from doing certain things. It stops the government to doing certain things. कुछ चीज़ां करन ਲਈ government ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੈ fundamental rights. But on the other side, directive principles of state policy, they exhort the government to do certain things. They pressurize the government to do certain things for the welfare of the common people. The fundamental rights mainly protect the rights of the individual, while the directive principles, they ensure the welfare or the well-being of the whole society. However, when the government intends to implement directive principles of state policy, sometimes the conflicts occur. They come in conflict with the fundamental rights of the citizens. One of the problem I am going to discuss here, when the government sought to pass laws to abolish zamindari system, इंडिपेंडेंस तो बाद बड़े बड़े ਜ਼ਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲੈਂਡ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਜ਼ਮੀਂਦਾਰੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਨੂੰ ਅਬੋਲਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਟੈਪ ਉਠਾਇਆ. These measures were opposed on the ground that they violated the right to property. So that is why right to property ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੀ ਲਿਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਾਮਿਲ ਸੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਤੇ ਲੈਂਡ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਲਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਾਈਟ ਟੂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਰਾਈਟ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵਾਇਲੇਟ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ. ਕੀਪਿੰਗ ਦਿਸ ਇਨ ਮਾਈਂਡ, ਦ societal needs are greater than the individual needs. The government amended the constitution so that the directive principles of state policy can come into an effect. This led to a very long battle. The executive and judiciary, they took different positions on this matter, and the government claimed that rights can be abridged for giving effect to directive principles. Means rights ਨੂੰ ਤੋੜਿਆ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ directive principles ਨੂੰ ਜੇ effect ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆਣਾ ਹੈ. ਫਿਰ ਕੋਰਟ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਸੀ, ਆਪਣਾ ਵਿਊ ਸੀ, held ਕਰ ਲਿਆ, and they held that view that fundamental rights are more important and they are sacred and they cannot be limited even for the purposes of implementing directive principles. ਜੇਕਰ ਅਸੀਂ directive principles ਨੂੰ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ directive principles ਦੇ ਅੰਡਰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੁਅਲ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਸੀ, ਤੇ ਜੇ ਜ਼ਮੀਂਦਾਰੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਬੋਲਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਰਾਈਟ ਟੂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਰਾਈਟ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਵਾਇਲੇਟ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ. ਬਟ ਕੋਰਟ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਨੇ, ਦੇ ਆਰ ਮੋਰ ਸੈਕਰਡ ਐਂਡ ਦੇ ਕੈਨੋਟ ਬੀ ਲਿਮਿਟਡ ਈਵਨ ਫॉर द ਪਰਪਸ ਆਫ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟਿੰਗ ਦ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਿਵ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲਸ. ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਿਵ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲਸ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤਦ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੀ ਬਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੜਾ ਸਕਦੇ, ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਮੋਰ ਸੈਕਰਡ, ਦੇ ਆਰ ਮੋਰ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ. ਇਹ ਮਾਮਲਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੁਕਿਆ. ਇਟ ਹੈਜ਼ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਡ ਅਨਦਰ ਕੰਪਲੀਕੇਟਡ debate. This was related to the amendment of the constitution. The government on one side, it was saying that parliament can amend any part of the constitution. गवर्नमेंट कह रही सी कि जेकर कोई चेंज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆਣਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ਦੇ ਪਾਰਟ ਨੂੰ ਅਮੈਂਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ. ਬਟ ਔਨ ਦੀ ਅਦਰ ਸਾਈਡ ਦ ਕੋਰਟ ਵਾਸ ਸੇਇੰਗ that parliament cannot make any amendment that violated the fundamental rights, and this controversy was settled by one of the important decisions in Keshav Nanda Bharti case by Supreme Court of India. In this case, the court said that there are basic structures, there are basic features of the constitution, and these cannot be changed by the parliament. केशव नंदा भारती केस ਵਿੱਚ एक हिस्टोरिकल जजमेंट ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ. ਉਹਦੇ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਫੀਚਰ ਹੈ ਕਨਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੇਂਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਦੁਆਰਾ. Under this controversy about the relationship between rights and the directive principles, one important reason was there in the constitution. Originally, there was a fundamental right to acquire, possess and maintain property in the constitution of India. India ਦੇ constitution ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਐਕਵਾਇਰ ਕਰਨਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪੋਸੈਸ ਕਰਨਾ, ਓਨਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਰੱਖਣੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮੇਨਟੇਨ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਰਾਈਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਇੱਕ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਰਾਈਟ ਦੇ ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਨਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ. ਬਟ ਦਿਸ ਕਨਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਮੇਡ ਇਟ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਦੈਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਕੁਡ ਬੀ ਟੇਕਨ ਅਵੇ ਬਾਈ ਦ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਫॉर ਪਬਲਿਕ ਵੈਲਫੇਅਰ. ਲੇਕਿਨ ਜਦੋਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਦਾਰੀ ਪ੍ਰਥਾ ਨੂੰ ਟ੍ਰੈਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਅਬੋਲਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਵੈਲਫੇਅਰ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਲੈਣੀ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦੀ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਲੈਂਡ ਲੈਣੀ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ, ਵਾਪਸ ਲੈਣੀ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ, ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਰਾਈਟ ਟੂ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਮਿਟਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ. Government made many laws since 1950 in order to limitize this right to property. But this right to property was at the center of long debate over the relationship between rights and the directive principles, and finally in the end in 1973 Supreme Court ने एक decision ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ right to property ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਨਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਲਈ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੇਂਜਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ. 1978 ਵਿੱਚ 44th ਅਮੈਂਡਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਕਨਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਨੇ ਰਾਈਟ ਟੂ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੀ ਲਿਸਟ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੰਬਲ ਲੀਗਲ ਰਾਈਟ ਆਰਟੀਕਲ ਨੰਬਰ 300A ਦੇ ਅੰਡਰ ਬਣਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ. And in that situation only the land reforms and abolition of zamindari took place. This is all with the chapter beta. If you have any doubt you can ask me. Read the chapter well. If doubt comes in your minds you can ask me on my personal number. Stay at your houses, stay safe. Thank you.